What's up, guys? Welcome to another video here today. We're going to be doing something a little different. We're just going to play some Standard today. For those of you that don't know, Standard recently had a rotation, so a couple sets left, and a new set came in this case, Ixalan. And what's nice about this set is that it's the archetypes, kind of the new twist that it's putting on the format, are actually very playable in the sense that you have all these different tribes that all seem fairly playable in some capacity. So it's not just kind of like for the limited setting. So what we're going to try to do today is kind of get our pirate theme going. We don't really have any cards that really actually care about pirates, but most of the cards we're playing are pirates, and they're pretty tempo-y, pretty aggressive. Basically, let's take a look at the deck here first. So we have Siren Storm Tamer, which I think is one of the strongest cards that actually came out of Ixalan. Basically, it's a 1-mana 1/1 flyer, which is decent as it is. But the fact that it has 1 blue and you can sacrifice it and counter target spell or ability that targets you or a creature you control, it's so versatile. So in the early game, it can enable your Chart the Course or your Ruin Raiders, which we'll talk about in a sec. But basically, it's not dead either early or late game, which is what's great. It's aggressive, it's evasive, and it protects some of your bigger, more important threats at the top here. So then, of course, because we're a blue and black deck, we play a lot of Fatal Pushes here. 4 Fatal Push, it's one of the best removal spells we have access to. And then we have Opt as well, which is just a great card selection, lets us run a bit less lands than we might normally would, and gives us some consistency for both the early and the late game. And then we have this 1-drop here called Deadeye Tracker. I haven't tried this one yet, so the first iteration of the build did not have this card. But I wanted to test out 2 of it, because it seemed like it'd be a decent 1-drop. Maybe get in there on turn 1 and 2 and enable your other spells. But I think late game, it could actually be pretty powerful. So we're going to try that out and see if it does us any work. It may be completely horrible, and we'll find that out today, probably. What's really cool also, this card came out called Chart a Course. And this card is fine by itself in the sense that draw 2 cards, then discard a card. That by itself, look, it's card neutral. It's 2 mana. Filters your draws. Alright, not bad. But if you attacked with a creature, that's a 2-mana draw 2. And that's it. And what we do great in this deck is having evasive threats. So we have the Siren Storm Tamer, which is a flyer. We have Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, which is menace, also draws you cards. We have Kite Sail Freebooter, gets to disrupt your opponent and also get in there for damage well, with flying evasiveness. And then you have this Hostage Taker, clears the board. Ruin Raider draws you cards. So in general, the deck overall really synergizes in the sense that you want to attack early, you want to develop your board early, and you want to draw cards. Constantly have gas, apply more threats, remove more of your opponent's creatures and things like that. And then there's one other card that I haven't discussed yet in depth, and that's Lookout's Dispersal. Now this card is a counterspell. Basically, it can be, if you have a pirate out, which we have, 6, 9, 13, 17 pirates in the deck. 17 out of the 21 main deck creatures are pirates. And then you get to counter target spell its controller pays 4, and it costs 1 less if you control a pirate. So it's basically Standard's Mana Leak, and Mana Leak is going to be very powerful in Standard. Basically, you can drop a threat on turn 1 and 2, and then on turn 3 onwards, you can just keep up counter spells or removal and things like that, and you can really tempo your opponent out, which is what we're leaning to do here. What's great about the deck is that we have something like Hostage Taker here, so we're drawing a lot of cards. Some of those cards might be just mana sources, so Hostage Taker lets us into the mid game and late game not only push through damage, but steal our opponent's cards and then cast them ourselves. Which means that if your opponent can't interact with the ETB effect on the stack, you will always have an opportunity to at least cast the card that you steal, if you have the mana to do so, which I think is going to be... so far, Hostage Taker has blown me away, especially because they burn their removal, if they have any, on your earlier curve. But Hostage Taker just is insane. And we also have Ruin Raider, which is like Dark Confidant for Standard. And it's kind of pretty easy to enable. And what's nice is you can get its effect the turn you play it. Basically, you attack with one of your 1 or 2 drops, you play this on turn 3, and at your end step, you already get to get a card off of it. So it's kind of, it's very easy to enable. which is what I really like. So that's the main deck, very tempo-y, as you can see, 23 lands, very, 1 and 2 drop heavy, and then a little bit of 3s and 1 4 drop. So, we're relatively tempo-y, aggressive deck. In the sideboard here, so mono red is still a huge deck, so that's why I play 4 Gifted Aetherborns. Getting double black on turn 2 may be difficult, but it can definitely be doable on turn 3, or at least it should be. So we'll see how doable Gifted Aetherborn on turn 2 actually is, or turn 3 even. Spell Pierce to tempo out maybe control decks. It's really good against like a turn 4 or 5 Settle the Wreckage or Fumigate, things like that. Negate just kind of, again, attacks control decks, but also attacks the mid-range decks. Sometimes they bring in all these non-creature threats, and so that's nice to have. Duress, again, disrupt control decks, because I feel like control is going to be one of our toughest matchups. We have Gonti. Again, this is a great card for most mid-range matchups. Even control is good. So you just, maybe even aggressive decks. It really depends. But Gonti is just an overall really great card. Basically draws you a card, can trade with a creature because of its death touch, and nets you a lot of value. We play 1 Doomfall because I am afraid of Carnage Tyrant. I think that's a card that if it's cast on us, we may lose the game. But we do have a lot of like death touch here, so hopefully game 2 we have a lot of game against Carnage Tyrant. And then I've still seen some Gift of the Godfarers decks around, so just 2 Crook of Condemnation, because we have a pretty poor matchup against a deck like that overall. So just having a little bit of hate can go a long way. But overall, that's the build. We're going to run it through some games and see how it performs. Standard is still early in its, this new Standard format is still kind of being discovered. A lot of new decks out there being tried. So we'll see how this lines up against what everyone else is trying to do. All right, I'll see you guys real soon. All right, guys, welcome to the first match here. As some of you may notice, the name here is not my usual username. This is because me and a couple friends have decided to share a Mana Traders account. This lets me rent cards and things like that, so this is why I have access to the standard deck. While we don't necessarily have a big enough subscription to get modern decks, hopefully in the future, in a month or so, we'll upgrade that subscription, and I'll be able to get you guys a wide variety of decks, both in standard and modern. All right, so let's take a look at our opener here. 2 opts and a fatal push. No threat, but I think it's still a keep. We got lands. We have opt. Yeah, this definitely seems like a keep. Spire Bluff Canal. That could be a lot of things here. Crash through. Interesting. All right, so there's a threat. We found a threat. The question is now, do we want to leave up Fatal Push or Opt? And I think I want to lead with Opt. I get the feeling this might be a non-creature deck. We may get punished a little, but we'll see. Ooh, Deep Root Champion. Okay, so maybe I should have kept up Fatal Push. Ooh, that's great. All right. I think I'll just lead with Siphoner. If our Siphoner gets burnt, then that's not great. But if it survives, we'll have a really good next turn. We'll be able to kill the Deep Root Champion, and then also, do they get a forest here? See, if they get a forest, they might have whatchamacallit. Blossoming Defense? Alright, no Blossoming Defense. Okay, so our opponent gets to smack us for 3 here. Here we'll just, I guess, Fatal Push while they're tapped out, and leave up Opt. We could alternatively just chart a course to filter our hand. I think I'd rather save that, because I feel like this might be a bit of a grindy matchup. This is like, okay, another Deep Root Champion. Alright. This is like Temur Tempo, maybe? Let's see what we see on the top. We don't need another land. Alright, Kitesail Freebooter. Not a bad one. Not a great one either. So, We do want to lead with that first. We don't want to run our Ruin Raider out there just to get it killed by like another Lightning Strike, for example. At least this may force our opponent to clear the way. Whoa. Interesting. Yeah, I guess I'll take Chart a Course and leave my opponent with 2 Sensors. They can cycle those if they want. Yeah, so now we know they have 1 sensor in hand. That's it. Alright, now we know nothing. Alright, so our opponent has 3 completely unknown cards in hand. 2 unknown cards. If they attack here, it's going to be pretty evident that they have something. But no attack, so here we're just going to attack first. And we'll see if our opponent wants to remove it. My guess is that I guess they don't have removal, right? Alright, so we saw 2 sensors. Is there a chance that they drew another sensor here? And if so, does that mean we want to sequence our spells differently? I have a feeling we want to lead with Ruin Raider. Just to play out around another potential sensor. And I'm okay with this Glint Sleeve getting censored. Yeah, alright, I figured that was going to be what was going to happen there. Nope. But at least we get to draw off of Ruin Raider already, which is great. And again, it's a 1 mana card, so we didn't even take that much damage off it. And if they want to attack here, then we can start cracking back for even more. So of course here we want to hope that our opponent did not draw removal, because that means the cards are going to keep flowing. Alright, well, looks like they drew removal. They get their Chart a Course back, which they can cast now. And so while it won't be necessarily card advantage, they'll get this Deep Root Champion out of range for trading here. So what did they discard? They discarded another or they discard a Botanical Sanctum. So we definitely want to find removal for this ASAP. Probably Hostage Taker is the best card we could find here, because that would allow us to both steal it and cast it in the same turn. Alright, land. So we're ahead on cards, so if we can answer this guy here, I think I'm going to lead, or actually, I think I'm going to start with an attack. I'll play Chart the Course, see what that draws us. Nothing too good. So I guess we'll just kind of chump with, let's put a stop on my own end step in case we draw something good here, like a Fatal Push. Oof, that's actually pretty painful, which means I'm probably most definitely blocking here. Attune, yep. Alright, boy. The worst card they could possibly have as their last card would be like a Blossoming Defense, because it means that even if we do find an answer, it's not quite going to be good enough. Yeah, so I'm definitely blocking here. So these mana leaks are looking pretty bad against our opponent's curve. Ooh, another threat maybe? Ooh. Well, we can't do anything about that Drake, can we? So I'm going to go ahead and opt. Hostage Taker is pretty great. Yeah, I'm going to keep that on top. So let's see here. How many spells do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we can actually take the Enigma Drake, can't we? Yeah, and I think that's what we're going to do. So this is what's great about Hostage Taker. It's so powerful. And now this Enigma Drake will be able to trade with our opponent's Deep Root Champion. Worst case scenario, we can double block. And now we just have to watch our life total. But it's looking pretty good here. Alright, opt. Pretty good. Let's see if our opponent keeps their card on the bottom or top. That triggers their Deep Brew champion and draws them a card. Put a card on the bottom, so that means they drew a blind card, which is something we always want to see. And I think we'll probably double block here. Like I said, worst case scenario is going to be Blossoming Defense or something like that gives their creature 2 toughness. Like more than one extra toughness, basically. But I definitely think we trade here. Oh man, if we get to actually keep our hostage taker here and basically just trade, man, this hostage taker was a 2-for-1. That's crazy. Let's see if our opponent has a follow-up play here. Oh no! Oh, that's powerful. We need another hostage taker. Oof. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw my hostage taker under the bus here, just to get my Ruin Raid trigger. All right, well it got in for damage. Ruin Raider trigger, excuse me. Hostage taker. Wow, that's good as long as they don't kill our Siren Stormcaller. Creatures you control. Huh. 1, 2. Oh, and they have exactly enough to pay for it. Oh my god. Oh wait, no they don't. That's. Oh my god. For this whole time I was thinking this is actually Mana Leak, but it's not. Right? It's pay 4. So I might have made a mistake down the road where I could have double. Ooh, good thing I caught myself there. Yep. Please, no trample. Please don't draw a card. I think we can win this. The only question is, will Ruin Raider end up killing us? That's the question here. So they know about the hostage taker. They have to kind of attack for lethal here. We have to chump. Okay. Yep, and now we attack, put our opponent on a like 1 turn clock here. The question is, do we want to I don't know, do we want to play out this Deadeye tracker? I think so. All cards on the table here. If you got me, you got me. Alright, give me a land. Give me a land, Ruin Raider. Alright, that's a land. Great. Did we get there? Oh man, we got there. All right, let's go to the next game here. Doomfall seems pretty decent. Duress not bad. Gonti also seems great. We could bring in some spell pierces. This could be the kind of game where we're just a tempo match. I don't think this is the kind of matchup where we want Deadeye Tracker. It doesn't do much good blocking, and it doesn't, do any good anywhere else. Gifted Aetherborn, while it can trade with their Deep Root champions, it can't trade. It could easily die to all their removal, and it can't trade in the air, of course, which is a big issue. So I think this bottom curve here is untouchable. Kite Sail. I think Glintsleaf is good. I'm not sure about Kite Sail. Actually. And in that same respect, I don't think we want Spell Pierces, and I don't think we want Kite Sail, because they die to all the removal. So Duress is probably the better kind of quote-unquote Kite Sail here. Doomfall is good removal, and Gonti also not bad. So that's the way we're going to do that. We might have a harder time enabling our chart the courses for this this configuration, but I think we should be fine. And that's oof. Like, yeah, if we had like an island, this would be great. But yeah, I'll go ahead and mulligan my hand as well. And this hand is great in the sense that I can fatal push their turn 2 Deep Root champion, and hopefully we can find a threat. Look at Dispersal. I kind of want to find something to do before then. Let's see. All right, so they attune, probably get a mountain or something like that. Yep. Ooh, Duress. I think I'll keep that for the next turn. I don't think there's anything we want to Duress right now, really. We probably want to Duress now to like get a sensor out of our opponent's hand. That way we can tap out for Ruin Raider next turn. Opt. Sure, in response, yeah. Unless that was their only like non-creature spell, which I have a hard time believing. I don't think. Wow, that's really bad. That's a really bad hand. Let's take the Blossoming Defense because they have plenty of mana as it is. Next turn we can tap out for Ruin Raider. Hopefully they didn't draw anything too crazy. Play a Forest. Ooh, Enigma Drake. Okay. I mean, that's pretty good. It's a threat. Yep, here we just play the Ruin Raider. And we know their hand. Tune. Sure. That'll make Enigma Drake a 4/4. It looks like they got an island. They play the island. Another attune. Okay, so their hand is all lands, which is a good sign for us. This means we can probably be pretty safe to play Hostage Taker next turn. And we have to dodge removal for 1 turn, I guess. And then we can steal this Enigma Drake. And this is what I love about Hostage Taker. It's actually an insane card. And we have Dark Confidant in play. And we should be smooth sailing from here as long as our opponent doesn't draw like the nuts. Forest, Mountain. Like, they have a lot of dead draws in their deck, right? They have like Blossoming Defense, they have more tunes, and yeah, they just concede because next turn they probably drew a dud or something not great. Yeah, they reveal their hand. They drew another land, and basically we were going to go Enigma Drake, let's see what we were going to draw. Another island, and then off our trigger, another land. Okay, so not great necessarily, but we were definitely winning on board there. So yeah, thanks for watching the first match here with Blue-Black Pirate Aggro, and stay tuned for the second match. I'll see you guys soon.